Do you feel like your playing is too slow, uneven, or maybe your hands are getting tired or sore while you play? Welcome back to the Harp Studio. I'm Samantha, and over the last 10 years teaching people how to play the harp, I've noticed 6 big mistakes a lot of students make that keep them stuck at the beginner level. So today I'm going to show you the same things I've shown my harp students to fix these mistakes that may have found their way into your playing. This first one is a big one and can really make playing the harp a lot more difficult. It's really important in harp technique to create stability. So basically, we want your fingers to be able to operate from the same position almost every time they play. So that means we want the angle of your palm to stay pretty consistent as you play, though that doesn't mean we want to be locking up or keeping your hand or wrist really stiff. The mistake we want to avoid here is rotating your palm with your fingers as they play. So we don't want to see this movement when you're playing finger 4. And we don't want to see this movement when you're playing your thumb. We don't want to let the rotation of your hand play the strings for you. Instead, what we want is to let the fingers do the work and close them into your palm without the rest of the hand getting involved. Now, if you're struggling to get your fingers to do the work, that might be because you're making the next mistake of not pressing in on the string before you play. Something very important to understand about playing the harp is that we don't actually pull on a string to play it, we push on it. Sound is created by the string vibrating, and to make it vibrate, we just have to displace the string and then let it go. So that can be accomplished in more than one way. You can pull on the string and get a sound, but it's actually a lot more efficient to push through to the other side of the harp rather than pulling back toward your hand. Pushing on the string also has the added benefit of usually getting you a better tone quality than pulling. Now, to get that good push on the string, that doesn't mean we need to really strain in the hand or in your arm or your elbow or anything like that. All we really want to do is basically let gravity kind of take the weight of your arms and your hands and really just sink into the string so that gravity is doing as much of the work as possible and your fingers can do as little work as possible. Another way to think about this is to imagine strength building up at your fingertip while the rest of your hand is soft. Sometimes I like to imagine that my hand is made out of pudding or marshmallow or something like that. But basically we want to think about the fingertip as being the part of your hand that's doing the work. And honestly, it doesn't really matter which of the exact muscles in your hand are being activated. If you change the way you think about how you play, your body will react to that. The next mistake we're going to fix will make sure that all of that strength you're pushing into the string actually makes it there so you can play with less effort and more control. A common problem many harp students have is that as they try to apply force to the string, their knuckles will collapse, specifically this last joint before the fingertip. And so what we want to try to do instead is keep those knuckles a little bit curved. They don't need to be really, curling up here, but a little bit of curve in those knuckles, or even a little bit straight is okay, but we want to prevent them from collapsing as much as possible. Because when this happens, it means that all the force you're trying to play with is not actually making it to the string, it's all ending up here in this joint. And that ends up being a lot harder to control than if all the force you're using is actually making it to the string. Now, if you have trouble keeping your knuckles supported, that's very normal, that's very common. But what we want to do is just train the fingers what it feels like to stay curved, to stay supported, even when there's force being applied. We don't want to push harder, we don't want to strain or kind of lock up in the hand to try and hold that position. What you actually want to do is take some kind of hard surface, I'm going to just use a book as an example, and just press gently against it with your fingers, right? And you can probably push pretty hard with a sort of curved finger across your hands without those knuckles collapsing. And so what you want to do is just try to notice what that feels like to keep that structure in your hand, and it shouldn't take a whole lot of work to make that happen. Then what we want to do is go back to the harp, see if you can remember what that felt like, and apply the same thing to your fingers there. We also want to make sure that the thumb is getting all of its power right to the string, so make sure you're not making this next mistake of not closing your thumb all the way over. So many students that I've worked with fall into the trap of not closing the thumb completely, by which I mean folding it all the way over to the tip of the thumb over the bottom section of your second finger. for just simple, basic technical exercises, we want closing the thumb completely to be your default. Because again, when the thumb only plays this much, all the force in your thumb is actually sitting here in this knuckle and not at the tip of your thumb where the string is. When we close the thumb all the way over, and we don't want it to be like I played it here and then I flip it over afterwards. The reason we want to close the thumb over in the first place is because it's about follow through, right? If I'm applying force here at the string where the tip of my thumb is, the tip of my thumb will be the part that needs to move forward to dispel the force that I have built up at the string. So when I close my thumb all the way, I'm leading that motion with my thumb as opposed to kind of almost like smearing past it because I'm pushing with the middle part of the finger. So by having the tip of the thumb lead and finish that movement, you're making that the part of the finger that's controlling the sound. That's going to make it easier to play. That's going to get you better tone. That's going to help you control the volume of your thumb. And it's also going to help release tension and protect your joint because the thumb is an easy one to get tired or sore, or especially if you've got any arthritis starting in your thumb, or maybe it's been there for a while, I don't know. But the base of the thumb can be overplayed very easily, and so if we are using the tip of the thumb more efficiently, that's going to protect this part of your hand as well. This next one is a subtle difference that can have a massive effect on the way you play. When you move any of your fingers, whether into your hand or back out of your hand to get ready for the next thing, do it quickly. Don't move them slowly like this. Playing the harp is all about reducing any extra little bits of movement that can significantly slow you down. Even changes that might seem infinitesimally small at the hand level can have a tremendous impact on how fast you can play. So when you're playing a string, I kind of want you to think about your fingers like flicking a light switch. Either it's on or it's off. We don't want to spend a lot of time in the in-between area, right? If you were turning the lights off, you wouldn't kind of hold the switch and then like slowly move it into the off position. No, it's either it's on or it's off. We want to go straight from the string into your palm. And to move quickly, you don't need to use a ton of force either, right? Again, flicking the light switch, you don't need to like punch the light switch to get it to, no, you just flick it and there it goes. Same thing with your playing. The next mistake can not only bog you down and stop you from playing quickly, but it can also really tire out your hand and increase the risk of injury. Because the way you move fingers that aren't playing is just as important as how you move the fingers that are playing. An extremely common mistake I see students make is curling their sort of outside fingers into their hand and holding them there as they play. Any fingers that are not placed from the pinky inwards should move in and out with the nearest finger that is playing. So if I'm placing 1, 2, and 3, and the fourth finger doesn't play, I want to hold those fingers more or less in line with the third finger, and they will move into my hand when I play finger 3. And then when I bring finger 3 back out of the hand, I want 4 and 5 to come with it. The reason for this is that all of the muscles and ligaments in our hands are connected. Try holding your hands up like this and try to wiggle your fourth finger. Do you notice how my other fingers beside it, particularly 3 and 5, are moving as well? Now try and wiggle that finger without moving any of the other fingers at all. I can do it, but it's a lot harder. The point of all this is that whenever you are holding a finger still while other fingers are moving, that's a lot of force that you're exerting to hold that finger there. And over time, that can really tire you out, make you sore, or even cause an injury. And on top of that, by locking up one side of your hand, you're actually locking up your whole hand because everything is connected. And that is another thing that is going to make you play a lot slower. So to work on this, just take a minute or two at the beginning of your warm-up and try these simple exercises. Can you clean yourself somewhere else, my friend? When the cat is having a bath in the middle of your video. It's fine, I guess. So to work on this, all you need to do is take a minute or two at the beginning of your warm-up and do this very simple exercise. Place all 4 of your fingers and just play your fourth finger on its own, making sure that your pinky is moving in and out with it. And just do that a few times, really paying attention to the movement of the pinky. Then take your fourth finger off the strings and just play your third finger. Again, making sure that all the outer fingers move with it. Do that several times, and then we're going to take finger 3 off the strings. We'll just play finger 2, and you guessed it, we want all the fingers to move together with finger 2. As you start to get better at this and feel more comfortable doing it, you can start to apply this to other exercises and songs as well. It'll probably take a little bit of time to train your fingers to move differently, but it's going to be so worth it when you can play so much more freely. Staying relaxed while playing the harp is not only crucial for speed and hand health, it also makes you sound a lot better too. Watch this video next to learn how to further relax your technique, and make sure to sign up for my email newsletter to get more free harp tips straight to your inbox. Thanks for watching, and happy harping.